The child had been alive for less than a week. When the servants lifted her tiny body from the cradle, the imperial palace fell silent. Physicians lowered their eyes. Eunuchs froze where they stood. No one dared to speak. For more than 14 centuries, historians have argued over one question. Did Wu Zetian murder her own daughter to become Empress of China? No one has ever proved it. But everyone agrees on what happened next. Within months, her greatest rivals were gone. Within decades, she ruled the greatest empire on earth. My name is Wu Zetian. History remembers me as China's only woman to rule as emperor. Some call me a visionary. Others call me a monster. Perhaps I was both. You decide. I was born in 624, during the glory of the Tang Dynasty. China was wealthy, powerful, and feared across Asia. Yet beneath all its greatness stood one rule no one questioned. Men ruled. Women obeyed. My father ignored that rule. Instead of teaching me silence, he taught me to read. While other girls memorized etiquette, I studied history. Every kingdom I read about taught the same lesson. Power rarely belongs to the kind. It belongs to the one willing to keep it. At 14, I entered Emperor Taizong's palace as a low-ranking concubine. The palace was magnificent. It was also the most dangerous place I had ever seen. Hundreds of women lived behind its walls. Every smile hid ambition. Every favor created another enemy. Most fought for the emperor's affection. I fought for something far more valuable: influence. The emperor barely noticed me, so I watched instead. I watched ministers flatter him in public and betray one another in private. I watched generals compete for glory. I watched noble families behave as though they owned the empire. Slowly, I understood something few people ever did. China wasn't ruled from the throne. It was ruled by whispered conversations behind closed doors. Then, everything changed. Emperor Taizong died. Tradition offered women like me only one future. Our heads were shaved. Our jewels taken. We were sent to Buddhist convents to disappear from history. The palace gates closed behind me. Most believed they would never open again. But fate ignored tradition. The new emperor, Gaozong, summoned me back. No one knows exactly why. Some believed he admired my intelligence. Others whispered that our bond had begun while his father still lived. Whatever the truth, a forgotten concubine returned to the palace. This time, I knew the game. Power does not belong to the loudest voice. It belongs to the person everyone depends upon. The ministers dismissed my opinions. Gaozong didn't. Soon, he asked for my advice before he asked for theirs. That was the moment the court stopped seeing me as another concubine and started seeing me as a threat. Two women understood that better than anyone. Empress Wang, the lawful wife, and consort Xiao, the emperor's favorite. Both saw me as a rival. Neither realized they were already losing. Then my daughter was born. For a few precious days the palace celebrated. Even Empress Wang came to offer gifts and blessings before quietly leaving the chamber. Hours later, the child was dead. No witness ever explained what happened. Official histories written years later claimed I smothered my own daughter and blamed Empress Wang, knowing the emperor's grief would become my greatest weapon. Modern historians are far less certain. There was no confession. No evidence. Only accusations written long after everyone involved was gone. The truth died with the child. But truth no longer mattered. The emperor believed someone had murdered his daughter. His grief became suspicion. His suspicion became rage. Empress Wang lost her title. Consort Xiao soon followed. The two women who once ruled the palace vanished. I became empress. People say power changed me. They're wrong. Power simply removed the need to pretend. The court still bowed before the emperor. But as Gaozong's health began to fail, ministers found themselves waiting for my answers instead of his. His headaches worsened. His eyesight faded. Some days he could barely sit through court. So, I listened in his place. Then I judged in his place. Eventually, I ruled in his place. Many officials refused to accept it. Not because I lacked ability. Because I was a woman. Plots spread through the capital. Letters passed in secret. Noble families waited for my downfall. One morning, a minister who had spoken against me failed to appear at court. No one asked where he had gone. After that, the court grew very quiet. I built a network of informants that reached from the imperial palace to the smallest villages. A careless whisper could become a death sentence. My enemies called it tyranny. I called it survival. Then came the greatest betrayal. My own blood. When Gaozong died in 683, my eldest surviving son became emperor. The court celebrated. I watched. Within weeks he tried to rule without me. He promoted his own allies. Ignored my counsel. Forgot who had placed the crown upon his head. So, I removed him. Another son became emperor. He wore the dragon robes. I held the empire. History has condemned me for treating my children like rivals. Perhaps it should. But I had learned long before that the palace recognized no difference between family and politics. A son could become an emperor. An emperor could become an enemy. And enemies were never allowed to rule. Then in 690 I crossed a line no woman before me had dared approach. I ended the Tang Dynasty, founded my own Zhou Dynasty, and claimed the title no woman had ever claimed. Not Empress. Emperor. The court was horrified. Some ministers resigned. Others plotted rebellion. Most simply knelt. Because power does not ask permission. It demands obedience. History remembers my cruelty. It often forgets what followed. The empire my enemies swore would collapse under a woman's rule grew wealthier, stronger, and more stable than ever before. I rewarded talent over bloodlines, giving capable men from ordinary families the chance to govern an empire once controlled by a handful of powerful clans. That was the irony my critics could never escape. The woman they called unnatural had become one of the dynasty's most capable rulers. But even emperors cannot defeat time. Age crept into my bones. Illness slowed my mind. The court sensed weakness. The whispers returned. In 705, my closest supporters were killed during a palace coup. After decades of defeating every rival, I finally met one I could not overcome. Time. I was forced to surrender the throne. Months later, I died. Many believed history would erase me. Instead, it argued over me. My tomb still stands beside Emperor Gaozong's. His monument is covered with praise. Mine is different. It is a towering stone, completely blank. No victories, no excuses, no confession. Some believe I left it empty because no words could contain my legacy. Others believe I understood that history would never reach a verdict. Was I the woman who murdered her own child for power? Or the greatest victim of political slander in Chinese history? Was I a ruthless tyrant? Or the ruler who strengthened an empire that never expected a woman to save it? Empires vanished. Dynasties crumbled. The ministers who condemned me turned to dust. Yet 14 centuries later, you are still deciding who I truly was. My judges are gone. My empire is gone. But my story survived them all.